Summertime. This summer, we will be focusing on the joy of music and the Beatitudes, and some fun bonus episodes too. Stay tuned for joyful conversations this summer on the Pour Out Your Joy podcast. Join the conversation on our Facebook page. Remember to like our page so you get all the latest updates. Music influences us in so many ways. Listening to music, singing music, playing instruments to make music. It's definitely a way to receive joy and to bring joy to others. We're doing a series on the joy of music. Bethany, this month it's all about music. Are you excited?
I am, always.
There's so much to music, from the way it makes us feel to, how did it even start? And I'm just excited to dive into this today. So I was going to ask you, how is music part of your life? Do you have any kind of story how it first started? I was thinking about this and I went back to my childhood, but I wanted to ask you if you remember anything.
Oh, yes. So, this is a fun story. Okay, do you remember those photo albums that you would pull back the really clear piece of paper and it would kinda stick to the page? And then you'd paste all of your pictures in, it was, like, from the '80s or '70s. Do you
Oh,
remember?
yeah. I
Okay.
have photo albums like that. I still do.
So, my mom made one up for us kids when we were babies. And what she did was this is back in the day when microfiche, I think it was microfiche, or before even that, where you had the words, like, the choruses up on the screen at church, and, like, you would have what was that? The projector? I think,
Yeah.
but they also would put the choruses, like, written into the bulletin. So what my mom did was she took those out of the bulletin and she cut them up and would put them in this book, this photo album. And then she put, like, cards, like Christmas card pictures
Oh,
and
yes.
family pictures in there, and so it was the coolest thing. So we would sit on her lap and we would flip through the photo album, but it was more of like a singing album, and she would sing to us, and we would sing the choruses on every page, and then she would tell us
What?
stories about the people, like, she'd say, "Oh, this is so and so, and this is so and so, and this is your aunt, your grandma," and then we would have, like, remember those Christmas card fronts? I remember this one really vividly. It was a winter scene, and there was a house, and there was these, 3 people over here that were pulling the sled. It was a kind of a far away, kind of it looked like you could see, like, trees and hills, and there's a little farmhouse with the smoke coming out of the chimney, and she would make up a story that was dad, and that's you and Gabrielle, coming in from sledding all day, and, she'd tell us a little story about, like, what was going on in the picture, and I just remember that is one of my best memories of singing or being sung to.
What an awesome memory. I just think how thoughtful and of her to do that and, just creative.
Yeah,
So, that
and
is a
so
cool childhood memory.
and honestly, I should ask her where it is. I have not seen it for a super long time, but I remember that being the one thing we would sit on her lap and she would sing to us, and we would sing together.
So, mine is from, I think, 3rd grade. We all would sit around the edge of the room, right? Everybody had their desk apart. It was music class, and everybody had their music books, and we would sing out of that, and everybody, some people had instruments, like maybe a tambourine or a castanet or a maraca or something, and the song that I loved was Kookaburra.
That's cool. So is this at school?
Yes, this was at school. This
Oh,
was at
okay.
school.
Oh, interesting. Oh, that's
It
funny.
just came to me actually. I have a lot of different stories, but this one really, when you started talking about that, I'm like, "Oh, I forgot about that one." But yeah, we all sang, and it was really fun.
Mhm.
Everybody doing the same thing and
I remember that song, but I don't know if I remember all the words. Like, I don't.
okay, well,
Yeah.
really quick sidebar, we went to see the Ark in Kentucky recently, and they had a kookaburra, an actual kookaburra bird,
Hmm.
and it laughed and actually made the sound of laughter when it was in front of me, and it was so cool because that name triggered my memory, and I started singing the song, and it started doing it. It started it was so awesome, I'm telling you. Okay, back to this the joy of music. But yeah, so many memories. I have one I wanted to share too from my childhood. My parents, my mom especially, everyone had to play the piano. Everyone took lessons, and then my sister and I took guitar lessons. I was not really wanting to do that, but at the time, but, you know, it was just part of our growing up is she wanted us to be involved in music, and I'm really glad she did. I mean, because that was kind of the base of understanding notes and brought me into a whole realm of singing, and I've sang throughout my entire life. And also, I wanted to say I played the flute for a while in school. So, you know, instruments and your voice, it all ties in together to that joy of music, especially if you're I think especially if you're listening to it. If you're singing it, I have myself a personal love for it. I've sang in church choir, school choir, sang for weddings, things like that over my lifetime, and there's a joy. I feel like there's a joy to singing.
Well, speaking of musical instruments, my older
Mm.
sister wanted to play the violin, so she started playing the violin. Then my younger sister started shortly after, and I was like, "No, I don't want any of this." My parents were like, "You have to take an instrument. Which instrument do you want?" And I told them I wanted to play the flute because I always loved the flute. I thought it was such a pretty instrument, and so the flute teacher wouldn't take me unless I had 2 years of piano. Well, my cousin already played the piano, and I'm like, "Oh, man, I'm copying her." But I started playing the piano. I took it for 2 years, and I remember my mom saying, "Do you wanna now you've done 2 years of piano, do you wanna do flute?" And yes, I still did, but my cousin, who I just copied playing the piano, started playing the flute for band at school. Her and I were close, and growing up, I'm total second born, and I was like, "Nope, I wanna be different, I wanna be separate, I wanna be." And so in my family, I was separate with the piano playing, and my other 3 siblings played the violin, and they played beautifully,
Oh,
and it was really fun because we played like, my cousin and I play a lot of duets on the piano together, and we used to I mean, we still do, we play for Christmas Eve every year. That's, like, the thing we have to do in order to open presents. We have
oh,
dinner, and
nice.
then we have cleanup, and then we have a show, a musical performance, and then we can
Yes.
open presents.
I
And I
love
just
that.
remember I remember how it felt torturous. It wasn't torturous, but, like, oh my word, we wanted to get right to the presents, and it was like, "Hurry up," and so we would probably play faster through all of our songs because of it. But my grandparents, my grandma and her grandparents loved it, my aunt and uncle, they still love it. We still love to play, and so we will all get together at Christmas, and we sit and we play violin, we play a lot of, like, medleys together. I mean, it's like
Mm.
someone's on the piano so last Christmas, my sister who lives out of state has 6 boys, and 4 of them are in a boys choir. And so
Mm.
they came and they sang for us. And it was
Wow.
like I felt like it went full circle because it's I was telling my cousin, I'm like, "I feel like we're kind of off, like, we were the entertainment, and now the 2nd, 3rd generation is the entertainment."
Yes.
But that was good
I
times.
love that. I love that tradition. So what do you think pulls us in to music? I mean, there's so many different things.
Well, have you ever been, like, in a mall sometime and you hear piano playing or you hear, like, someone playing on a street corner? Like, it draws you in, doesn't it? It pulls
Oh,
you to
yeah.
that. And
Yes.
it's I mean, there's a piano, I think, at a local airport that I've gone to where people are playing, and I think that's fun. Or when people just sit down and start playing, some a piano just sitting around, and I just think that's
Oh,
cool
yeah.
too, where it's
I've
just
done that at
hanging out there.
Costco before. My son and I actually played our when he was younger, they had a piano there, so we started playing Heart and Soul. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Oh, yeah, played many, many.
Yeah.
Yeah, many, many, many a time playing that song with my siblings. I think music is biblical.
Mm. Oh, for sure.
It talks about, if we don't praise, the rocks will cry out. And so when I think about music, and not all music is I think God honoring. I think I don't personally, I don't think it has to be totally Christian. Like classical music is gorgeous. It's
Mm.
beautiful.
Tell me about it.
Brahms or Chopin or Beethoven. I mean, it's very intricate. I found out when I was playing piano how mathematical it is. Well, if you look in nature, God is very mathematical God. I mean, he's a very orderly person. Why wouldn't music be the same? So
Mm,
I think there is a spiritual pull to music,
mhm.
and music is
Yeah,
has been super beneficial and very powerful and very important to my life over the years.
yeah. Well, I wanna say too that I feel like I can definitely say I've been blessed in a choir group I'm part of because many of the songs that we sing, they're compositions from Christian composers,
Mhm,
and they're so meaningful. It's like a double blessing because I love to
mhm,
sing, and then when the director chooses some of these compositions, it's like, oh, it's singing about the Lord, it's singing about Jesus, that kind of thing. It could be in a different language or Latin, but it's just double meaningful, and it touches your heart, it just touches me more.
mhm,
But I have to say too, there's so many genres, and when I was in my youth, my parents I discovered my mom and dad's collection of music from the 30s, 40s, and 50s eras.
mhm. Fun.
Oh my word. I know. Okay, so we had a record player, and I would pull those out, and I would play them, and I got to know them, and I would start singing and dancing to them. I mean, I had the best time with these, the big band sound, they had Benny
Mhm.
Goodman and Duke what is it, Ellington?
Ellington.
Yeah, and all these, the big band I love bands in parades to this day, and I think it's, from that time, it's just so full and rich and all the different instruments together playing and the sound it produces. But yeah, they were instrumental in what I love to listen to, and then also they love musicals, so in turn, they
Mhm.
had those albums. Hello, Dolly, Sound of Music, right? My Fair
Yes.
Lady. Yeah, all those
Oklahoma.
songs were okay, we did not have Oklahoma, but I like that one.
Oh, man.
All those songs, they were so
Mhm.
fun to listen to and then make fun of like Carol Channing sing Hello, Dolly,
Yeah.
"Hello, Dolly." It was just I mean, her voice it's just to die for.
Oh,
So
that's
unique,
funny.
and that's another,
Mhm.
characteristic of music. Some sounds are so unique from voices to instruments,
Or
think of all that
harmonizing, like a
yes.
harmonizing voice. Oh my. Like a cappella harmony. Oh, it can just it's angelic. I mean, it is
Oh.
I feel like God in heaven is just like that pure those notes that they just reverberate, I think
Mm.
is the right word, and
Mhm. Mhm.
it's just so powerful. I love that, and
Mhm.
I Carol, I struggle with singing harmony. I just
Mm.
I struggle with that. I will go up and down, and I can't stay. Now, if you just give me the melody, my sisters
Mm.
can harmonize around me, but I was like the main the main
Yeah.
tune, and they would harmonize up or down below me. 'Cause there
Mhm.
was plenty of family vacations that on our way home, we would sing in the car
Oh, yes.
as, like, siblings,
Mhm.
we'd have
Mhm.
this this is before we had technology, so we would tell stories or read or we would sing, and so singing
M'kay.
was one of our big things, like, especially after dark if we're still driving, but we're not ready for bed or something, if we weren't gonna sleep or we were trying to get home or something, and I remember we would sing.
That must have been something with families then because ours did the same thing, and we would harmonize with, "We can't wait until we get snow, 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 snow." That we
Oh,
all I don't
oh.
even know where that came from. I think it came from my older brothers and sisters. They started it, and then we all started doing it, and I got it from them. So, maybe that was a thing with families back in the day. I don't know, but it was fun. It was fun to make
Yeah.
harmony. It was fun to sing. Still is,
And
so
I think we entertained my parents, they were sitting up front, and I'm sure my dad was usually driving, and it was one of those things like, just being able to hear that music in the car and just
yeah.
singing all sorts of songs that we would sing, Yeah, so my parents were of the, 60s and 70s, so they had records from, like, Peter, Paul and Mary, which is very that group is known for their beautiful voices. And then
Mm,
Simon and Garfunkel, we had a lot of those. So that's very harmonious. I know
mm,
my mom loved Glenn Campbell, so they had a lot of those records. And then, oh, Roberta Flack. My dad liked Roberta Flack, and then, but we had a whole set of just classical records, and then we had the musicals as well. And so we
yeah.
would sing, and we had they had West Side Story, and they also had, oh, Camelot. I remember that, but
Mm.
we had, The Music Man. Oh my word, The Music Man. I think we wore that record out, pretty sure. Pick a Little, Talk a Little, Pick a Little, Talk a Little.
Oh, yeah.
Like, just yeah, I mean, I mean, I could sing. I can sing so many musicals because of our record player. We would play those over and over, and we would dance in the living room, and I love singing. I don't have the best voice, Carol, but man, do I like to sing.
Oh, and it really
That's
doesn't matter because if you're enjoying it, who cares?
Yeah.
Right?
And when I get to heaven, that'll be my first thing. I'm like, "Lord, can I please have a good voice so I can sing harmony and high and low and everything?" I wanna have a wide range of things I can sing.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to say you were naming all those people, and there were so many that it was kind of came flooding back to my mind what my mom and dad had too. It was not only those collections, but they had the one offs too. And I know there were some from like Wayne Newton. Do you remember him? I mean, they had a
I've
really
heard
unique, yeah, like all the brothers together. And then he kind of went off on his own, I believe. But oh my gosh, so many names that were fun to listen to.
No, I wanted to try to find there was a my parents had a Gaither. Remember the Gaithers? They're still around.
I
Um,
do.
yeah, it was we had a record, and it was called, the Bill Gaither Trio, especially for children of all ages, and this record we used to play all the time, and, it brings every time I hear it, any songs, I it just brings me right back to my childhood, and,
Oh my gosh.
it had some really I yeah, it's a I Am a Promise. Okay. It's called I Am a Promise, I'm a Possibility, I Am a Promise. With a capital T, I am a great big or P, I am a great big something, great big bundle of potentiality.
Oh, yeah.
And
I
when
remember
you
that.
something oh my word, oh,
Yeah.
that song, like, every time I
Okay.
think about it,
Now you're
it's so good.
making me think of the kid songs. Doris
Yeah.
Day,
Oh,
Inchworm, Inchworm. Do you remember that? Oh
no.
my gosh, yeah, they had a whole album. And then
Mhm.
at Christmas time, of course, we had Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. We had that album. Oh my gosh,
I hope
you're
this is
just spurring
bringing
up a
Oh, but I hope, like, as people are listening to this, they are, 1, thinking about this stuff, and then also, like, "Oh, I remember singing this." I think a lot of kids grow up on Sesame Street songs.
Oh, probably.
We didn't have a TV, so we didn't get that, but I think if we were, like, thinking of, you know Rubber ducky, you're the best, like, there's, like, all these songs that probably a different generation is thinking about right now and going, "I remember this song." I mean,
Mm,
music there's so many memories within music,
mhm,
and I have worship songs that have really
mhm,
meant things to me over the time, and usually, I guess in my high school years, it was probably more of, like, a group, and then the song was very instrumental at the time, and the one I'm thinking of is I loved Avalon. Avalon went through a lot
mm.
of people. They had, like, the core I think there was the core 3 people, but they had, like every album I felt like they had that extra 4th person was every album was new, which was gonna date me a little bit because Avalon hasn't really been around for a long time. But the one,
Mm,
"Live a Day Without You" is the one of the, um, songs that really ministered to me in that group. And it's not I wouldn't say it's their I think "Testify to Love" was one of their better, like, more, like, mainstream songs, but "I Can't Live a Day Without You" is talking about I did do some lyrics on it because I wanted to talk about it. "I could live a life alone and never feel the longings of my heart, the healing warmth of someone's arms, and I could live without a dream and never know the thrill of what could be With every star so far and out of reach, I could live without many things, but I could carry on. But I couldn't face my life tomorrow without your hope in my heart. I know I can't live a day without you. Lord, there's no right and there's no night and there's no morning without your loving arms to hold me. You're the heartbeat of all I do. I can't live a day without you. And it goes on. But that
That
song,
is so meaningful.
it still is. Like, Carol, I just started listening to some of my old songs last summer when I was walking, and I wanted, I listened to Avalon and some other of my songs, and I heard it, and it was just like it still fits. Like, that worship song still fits in my life. I still feel
Mhm.
that way, and all these years later.
More on the joy of music next time. Stay tuned. True joy comes through Jesus, knowing Him and walking with Him. If you do not have Jesus in your life, you can ask Him into your life by praying this simple prayer. Dear Jesus, I believe in you. I believe that you came to die for my sins. I have eternal life through you and you alone. I ask you to walk with me in relationship so that I may know you more and grow in the knowledge of your word. It is in your name that I pray. Amen.